Check this out. Yes, J-Doc, CJ, and V the Gorilla. They call us alternative, yeah, cause we ain't vanilla. We got the hard-hitting facts coming out that Manila. For the truth in the media's afraid of the realest. Shoot the statement of the deep state, yeah, they faked it. Mainstream news pull the cover up as sacred. Everybody hates it, but who's the one to face it? It's road news to expose truth to the nation. Yo, who are the ones that are not afraid to speak the truth? Educate the youth, exposing lies and who they listen to. Hey, they want to call collusion, you ain't got the proof. Who? A lot of people lying now, but what they got to lose? Yeah, but we're not like that. Only interested in facts, making sure we get it right on the trust of the mass. Population's only strong when liberty's intact. And as a wise man said, if it's not, it won't last. That was George Washington, by the way.
Hi everyone, it's V. Welcome to Road Mornings with V and CJ. Tonight this morning we're going to discuss about our feelings and what triggers you. CJ, what triggers you, CJ?
Well, I just don't like it when people refer to women and men at all. That's just so not current. I just don't like that at all. It's just
I agree. It's just not trendy. You know, I like to be my new gender pronoun, which is peanut butter. My gender is peanut butter this week. Next week it's going to be jelly. Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm Latina, so I like to refer myself as the big burrito.
But burrito, I get it. You're like a trans Latino heat. Like you're a Latino with a burrito. I get it. Makes sense to me. Folks, it's V and CJ in the morning. It's Tuesday morning. What do you expect? It's Tuesday morning. It's a rainy day here in Nuevo York, a.k.a. the Empire State, a.k.a. the Rotten Apple. Siege, how's the weather over there, bro?
Yeah, we had thunderstorms roll through last night. About 3:30, 4 in the morning, thunderstorms, lightning, and then it rained like cats and dogs for the first couple hours this morning. Yeah, so send your way, V.
Yeah, it's already here, buddy. I mean, I woke up this morning, rain's coming out sideways. I'm just like, wow. It is what it is. Another rainy day in Nuevo York, and I'm just chilling. So, see, anyway, I went to Best Buy yesterday.
Here we go. Tech story.
And I was going to plop down some cashola on the new iPhone XS. The 10S, 10X Max, or the XX Max. What the hell you want to call these idiots? And I decided, and I walked out, Siege. I walked out, not with an iPhone, but with a Galaxy Note 9. Yes.
Nice.
I must say, I'm actually impressed by this device, and I'm going to look forward to playing around with it. And no, Samsung is not paying us a penny to talk about it either. So, cool phone, man. I love the camera. Love the features. Love that S Pen. Did you know you can use the S Pen as a remote control for your camera? Like I could put it on a tripod and then click the pen to take pictures of me. Like selfies.
I did not know that. I did not know.
Dude, it's pretty sick. And I love the notes you can write with this. It's pretty damn handy. But yeah, so I'm playing around with it. So far, I like it a lot. I think it's a lot more innovative than the gay Tim Cook and his Apple confab. Anyway, with that being said, folks, check it out. RogueNews.com. Rogue News, everywhere you want us to be on every single podcasting app known to humanity. We're still known as Rogue Money. But that's okay. Give us some time. We'll bring it all together and make it rhyme. And with that, also check out our sponsors, mycbdedibles.com, mycbdedibles.com. And also check out, if you want your trading on, get your trade on at the Watchers Trade Room. That's WUT.live. WUT.live. See, I didn't give you the thing to update the description boxes, did I?
No, but I can copy it here. It is different because this is still on the. Yeah, you have a different link up. Yeah, I'll have to go find it.
Yeah, it's the WUT. What.live? Watch us trade, baby. Learn to trade because there's more act. People like, the crypto markets are dead. Yeah. If you're a hodler, you're gonna be crying, but there's more action in the crypto market today than any other time before. That's why you're seeing all this volatility because everybody's in. everybody's in like Flynn and they're trying to win. Get it done. Don't waste your time, hun. Watch us trade live. Watch us trade.live. That's WT.live. And with that out of the way, Siege, let's crack a lacking, bro.
Hey, doing great, V. Yeah, it was interesting last couple of days. I mean, yesterday I started getting, text messages saying that, Rosenstein had resigned. He's on his way to hand over his resignation.
Yeah.
The media jumped on it. It looks like it may have been a little bit premature. Apparently he had considered, this all stems back from the weekend with the information that came out that he specifically had, volunteered to wear a wire to hopefully entrap President Trump into, collusion, or stating that he was specifically trying to interfere with the fake investigation, which I don't understand at all. How can you be interfering with an investigation when the investigation is fake? Can you help me understand that, V? I don't get it.
Only in the mind of a corrupt bureaucrat does that even make sense, Siege. It's like he knows the investigation is fake, but he's going to interfere in the fake investigation. Man, I had to sneeze, excuse me, and full allergies. Yeah, so it's just ridiculous, man. So basically, Siege, what you're telling me is that we're a little bit premature in celebrating the demise of Rod Rosenstein.
Yeah, let's play this clip because Sarah Sanders does a great job of breaking it down, specifically, and this was just from this morning, V. So let's play this clip real quick for our audience, so that way they hear it. Because, like I said, I think she breaks down perfectly exactly what's going on with it.
Start out with Rod Rosenstein right there. The president spoke with him on the phone yesterday. Did he tell Mr. Rosenstein that he wants him to stay on the job?
They had an extended conversation and decided to continue it. And they're going to do that on Thursday. And both agreed that it was best to have a conversation like that in person. And that's what they're going to do in 2 days.
Does the president have confidence in Mr. Rosenstein?
The president has confidence in the system, and
that's not what I asked.
He wants to. Again, I'm not going to get ahead of the conversation that's going to take place. Certainly, he wants things to take place. There have been a number of incidents that have caused a great deal of concern, not just to the president, but to Americans all over the country. People like Bruce Orr, McCabe, and a number of others who have been dishonest and not played the role that they were meant to play through the FBI and through the Department of Justice. And the president wants to have a conversation with Rod Rosenstein, and that'll take place on Thursday.
He wants to know if Rod Rosenstein said, should I wear a wire on the president?
Look, I think he wants to have a conversation with him. They had a very long and good conversation yesterday, and they want to continue that in a couple days.
If Rosenstein refuses to resign, will the president fire him?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president's decision making. Again, he wants the process to work. He wants the Department of Justice to be focused on what it should be and not focused on all of the things that have been taking place over the last several months. And frankly, what has become the talk of the Justice Department. That's not what they should be focused on. And that's what the president wants to make sure that they're focused on what they should be.
One of the president's personal attorneys, Jay Sekulow, said that the Mueller investigation should be put on hold if Rosenstein leaves his job. Is that the president's position?
I'm not going to get into the specifics on the Mueller investigation. We think it should be finished because they've spent a year and a half digging through and have still come up with nothing. There was no
they've had several indictments, several convictions.
Nothing that has anything to do with the president or his campaign. And it's ridiculous that they continue to drum this up and drag it out. And it should, I think, be wrapping up.
Several convictions, several cooperating witnesses. But let me move on.
Nothing to do with the president.
Can you assure
I think that's important to know.
Can you assure the American people that whatever happens with Rod Rosenstein, the president will allow the Mueller investigation to continue and to conclude?
The president has cooperated throughout this entire process for an extended period of time. He wants it to be transparent. That's why he's asked for documents to be released and why he and his entire staff have been completely cooperative from day one. But
so he will allow it to finish?
Look, I'm not going to get ahead of where the president is, but he has been very clear that he wants this to come to a conclusion. We expect that it should. And again, they've spent a year and a half and found nothing that has anything to do with this president because there was nothing.
I have to move on to Brett Kavanaugh. The president had that tweet last
place. There have been a number of incidents that have caused a great.
So you have it, V. Yeah. So And again, a lot of people are saying that he potentially, did this on purpose because now they're trying to force a termination, a resignation with him. Most political pundits are stating to, keep him aboard, let him resign, let him follow the system, so that way they can't say that it's again interference. And I'm agreeing. Now, let's keep in mind that Rosenstein is in direct charge of the Mueller investigation. He is the one that they believe, when Trump threatened to release the unredacted FISA, they're stating that Rosenstein was the one that specifically said, no, let's have one more look at this. Let's have the Inspector General, review it. Let's delay this. And Trump really needs to pressure the DOJ to go ahead and release this information coming out. I don't think that it would be wise at this point to terminate him. Because that's, again, just going to leave that whole Mueller investigation up in the air. Not that I want it to continue, but I think let him resign, and then hopefully at some point, once the unredacted FISA memo comes out, he can be prosecuted to the fullest extent. But yeah, so tomorrow's going to be very interesting to see specifically what happens. But we can't allow the DOJ to pressure Trump to not push this information to release the unredacted FISA. I mean, there's nothing here that's going to be any game changer to us, because we already know specifically, what happened. But again, to terminate him, I think is going to create more political chaos. Let them get through the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings tomorrow, move forward, get the court tied up, and so hopefully we can move forward with some of these prosecutions, some of these sealed indictments that need to come forward. V.
My question is this, Siege. I don't care about any of that. I'm going to go online right now, and I'm going to go to QAnonPost.com. I'm going to read what Q says. The hell with this. Okay. Automatically, I get some sort of thing saying that my phone is now infected.
We might be in sync with some of what Q's came out with some of his recent posts. The only thing that is counter is just this continued, trust Sessions. And like what many of the people that we interview, that we discuss with, let's remember with that whole narrative that trust Sessions, he's doing all this work in the background. I think that narrative kind of falls apart. Specifically was the one that when Sessions is the one that recused himself and said, you know what, I'm not going to participate in this. If he would have stepped forward right at the beginning and not assigned a special investigator to, this whole Russian collusion thing, Trump wouldn't be in the dilemma. We wouldn't have spent the past 2 years where we are today. So that entire narrative kind of really falls apart. Sessions has came out several times and spoke, very well on behalf of Rosenstein. And in fact, in a recent interview, I think he specifically stated that he would consider resigning if Rosenstein resigned as well. So what's that tell you? So again, that whole narrative of wait for Sessions to do something, I just don't know if that's going to happen. I just don't see it at this point. Now, I may be wrong. Absolutely. I'd love to be wrong. Absolutely. We've said that several times. I'd love to be wrong. Love to see these prosecutions, move forward, because I think that's where we are at this time. That's exactly where we are. We've had enough of special counsel. We've had enough of behind closed door sessions. We've had enough of that. We have the facts out there, and we can't wait to think that, oh, well, if we wait till all this align, then the media is going to release it and people are going to believe it at that stage. That ain't going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. No matter what information comes forth, no matter how true it is, no matter how many facts that we have lined up, that they are not going to convey that information. They probably already have lined up trained people to create some type of a false flag incident when that information does break.
Yep. It's pretty interesting, man. It's on top of all this, are people talking about the resistance being activated? The resistance is futile. Yes. And talking about the resistance, right, CJ? And it turned out that it was on the headlining on Drudge, which is linking to InfoWars. Poor InfoWars, man. It's just the only thing that's left. It's terrible. The only thing that's left is just their website. Jesus Christ, it's horrible. Anyway, top resistance member is from
Their app is
TG
working very well too. V. Their app is working very well right now too. So
where on Android or iOS?
Android, yeah, Android.
Exactly. Top resistance member admits he gets paid by higher ups to sow division. Brian Krasenstein's stunning admission caught on camera. A top member of the anti-Trump resistance has been caught on camera admitting that he gets paid for his tweets by higher ups to quote-unquote sow division. Brian Krasenstein bills himself as a co-founder of multiple tech-related news websites and blogs. He's also an investor, writer, and social media personality. Along with his brother, Ed, Krasenstein is a notorious anti-Trump troll, using his platform of 540,000 Twitter followers to bash the president on a daily basis. Much mystery surrounds the brothers, with even far-left websites Think Progress speculating whether they were scam artists having once subjected to a federal raid. Krasenstein's resistance activism might not be as grassroots as it appears on the surface. In a secret recording, Krasenstein admits that he is being paid for his tweets. Of course, quote-unquote, he's saying. Of course, there are higher-ups that are paying us. Gee, I wonder who. Would that be a Georgi Soros? Okay, Georgi Schwartz? Would that be a Georgi Schwartz? I think so, CJ. I think a George Soros, a.k.a. Georgi Schwartz, is probably one of the paymasters here. There's no doubt about it. Of course, they're paying us. They want us to help sow the division, to take over Trump's Twitter feed. When Trump makes a post, they want our tweets to be up there. Wow. Okay, Siege, I think there's some crazy revelation in that quote that this guy just did. I'm gonna read to you again. Let me know if you catch it, right? Of course, there are higher ups that are paying us. They want us to help sow the division and to take over Trump's Twitter feed. When Trump makes a post, they want our tweets to be up there. CJ, how can anybody do that without the help of you-know-who?
Right. Mm-hmm.
How can anybody say, hey, they want our tweets to trend higher than anyone else's so that it can supplant and intersect what the president is saying? Who has the power to do that?
The deep state.
Specifically, there's a name in there. Starts with a J.
Gosh darn it.
That's not, and the last name starts
it.
with a D. He's the owner of Twitter, bro. Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey, thank you.
And it came out that Dorsey saying, yeah, we were sympathetic to left-wing organizations. Jack Dorsey needs to have his beard plucked off his face, the beta male that he is.
Well, they've done that for a while. Like when you look at a tweet that's favorable of the president or something that he pushes out, you'll immediately see the radical left replies will automatically, navigate to the top of the replies. You know how it lists all the replies to a tweet someone sends out. And for some reason, be always the ones that are bashing or very counter productive. Anytime there's any type of good information, and that's Twitter's algorithm that's specifically doing that. Yeah, it's been going on for a while now. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, think about it. The resistance has been activated. The resistance. See, this is my question, right? You have a sitting president. And you have, if it is not obvious to you at this point, folks, you have within this country an active, organized, and well-funded fifth column. CJ, in last week's Project Veritas, when James O'Keefe dropped some of he calls it the deep state. I call them like low-level muckrakers. Low-level idiots. They're not much of a deep state at all. But look at the attitude of these low-level idiots. Every single one of them that were exposed were all members of the DSA USA, the Democratic Socialists of America, which is a euphemism for communists. And over again, their whole thing that they were saying is that, yes, we want to supplant we want to thwart the capitalist. We want to supplant capitalism. We want a communistic revolution. And the way we're going to do it is to have control over the levers of power. These deluded, deranged derelicts have literally so blinded themselves in their own stupid ideology that they think that we're going to sit back and let this crap happen. We are not going to be sat on the sidelines while a bunch of feminazis and beta males try to rule over us. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And kind of what happened last night to Ted Cruz. He's out having dinner. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Ted Cruz, but I also believe that people should have the right to go out and enjoy themselves and out dinner. And he was, basically like confronted inside this restaurant with a mob of people, his wife, yelling, screaming about Kavanaugh, all this. No one deserves that, right? I mean, certain people do, but to a certain extent that these people, that they create a mob style approach to these things. And I believe that could be the direction, that we're heading. And as much as people want to, joke about civil unrest, I think it would be thwarted real quickly by the patriots. I don't think the radical left would stand a chance. And when people, like, for example, yesterday, Alex Jones had on the guy from Natural News and specifically talking about, everyone knows about, Obama's, and, they have these plans in place in case, martial law, but most of them are, emergency type situations. And even we talked about last week that in the event that something does happen where they try to have immediate, move to articles of impeachment, because we know that Trump is hated by the left and the right, potentially if they activate those potential radicals to start creating social interruptions, all those things potentially happen. I think the Patriots would squash that right away. And I'm not advocating violence, but if that's where we've came to in a society, that there's going to be some type of civil clash like that, so be it. Yeah, so be it. Potentially could happen. But I think, and we said it last week that in the event that does happen, where this information does come out and it does resonate with a lot of people, and there does need to begin the arrest that happens and they start to take place, I think these people legitimately would flip out. I think that's the potential for happening. And if that does, and you do see Congress or Senate try to move forward in some type of an event against Trump, the administration, I don't think there would be any choice but to potentially declare some type of martial law, putting in some emergency powers at that point. As crazy as that may sound, I haven't war gamed it at all, sit there and like analyze everything. I just don't know where this goes, just because the fact that this administration is just hated by so many, whether it's the media, whether it's the left, the right. I mean, there's very little people other than the military that support President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is it's 60% of the country supports and loves this president. You have a 40% of the country that are absolutely brain dead. They are gone. There is no reaching them. They are gone. They are dead weight. And the majority of those 40%ers who don't get along with the rest of us, okay, and let me say that was the 60%, okay? The 60%, let me define that a little bit. Either they love the president, they like the president, or they understand, hey, you know what, or they're a real liberal that says, okay, you know what, let's run on issues. There's no need for this hate. There's no need for this. Let's just respect the office of the presidency. I think the majority of the country's that way. But there's that 30 to 40% that are absolutely nuts, okay? They are absolutely nuts. And not only are they nuts, there's no reaching them. There's no reasoning with them. Facts don't matter. Look at the Kavanaugh thing. Everybody with a half a brain would understand that this is a complete farce. Everyone with a half a brain understands that, hey, this whole thing with Kavanaugh is completely made up, right? Completely made up. And the whole entire thing here, CJ, is this. Facts don't matter. You are in the new left mindset, okay, of this idiocracy that they've concocted in their own heads, right? your due process doesn't matter. Laws don't matter. Rules don't matter. All it matters is the public opinion, mob rule. Okay. And the only way that these sycophants who are out of control and out of touch with reality is, I advocate this. The next time a politician, I pray to God that that one day a politician somewhere, a Republican politician or an independent, I don't even care, somebody in a gun state somewhere is surrounded by these leftard idiots, okay, who are screaming at them. And I pray that these mob of leftards would approach this quote unquote said politician and his family. And I pray that the said politician and family feels threatened at that point, and that he happens to have a concealed carry permit. And I hope that he pulls out his gun and kills one of them. He's got you. It's getting to that point. It's getting to that point. Look, dude, if I was a politician, I'm out with my wife, and I'm surrounded by leftards scream, I'm going to punch somebody.
Right. Absolutely.
And if I have a gun on me and I feel, yo, you're threatening me, I'm going to drop you. I'm gonna empty a clip into your whole crowd. Period. I'm threatened. They're surrounding my car. I fear for the safety of my wife, my child. I'm gonna drop you, man. There's no question about it. I'm gonna shoot your freaking left head. I'm gonna drop you dead. And that's when it stops. You gotta understand. See, we're very tolerant here. You know, people that are conservative, libertarian, man, very tolerant. We'll let you have your way. And this is the problem. I've said this so many times, CJ. In our world, with our worldview, these crazy left-wing nut jobs could exist. We got no problem with it. Go ahead. Scream resistance, do this, do that. But let's win in the arena of ideas. Let's win in the arena of ideas. No, you want to force it down my throat. And the worst part is, like I said, they can exist in our world, but we cannot exist in theirs.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they want to ram it down our throats. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the whole entire thing. So, there's nothing. So what kind of recourse do we have? What kind of recourse do we have? We don't have none. We don't have none. So the only recourse we have is basically to respond, because that's what they're pushing this whole entire thing to. Someone's going to respond in a way that they're not going to like, and it's going to do two things. It will end or inflame, depending on what is done, Siege. But enough is enough, man.
Right, and we very well could arrive at that point, regardless, because if there aren't actions, if there are not arrests, things to take place soon, kind of like what we said, then we'll be led to believe, other things. We'll be led to believe that this whole thing has been a charade, that it's been in disguise of the potential economic reset, and they're hoping to, keep enough people involved with this arrest, these things happening. But it's just time. It's time for legitimate action, transparent. Let us know specifically what's going on. All the facts, all the evidence is there.
Yep.
We know specifically what happened, and if we reverse this situation, and this specifically happened, to Obama or Hillary, I guarantee you by now, there would be some type of prosecution. There would be something a lot more happening, and then I agree, as harsh as that may sound, like in terms of violence and everything else, but the left aren't playing by the rules. We've said that numerous times.
They're playing for keeps, man. We're playing pussyfoot. They're playing for keeps. That's the difference here. They're playing for keeps. They're energized, they're mobilized, and they're hostile. They're playing for keeps.
Right. And why that's just so important is because we know for a fact that they're the ones that have led everything to where we are today in terms of China, in terms of any type of progress with Russia. I mean, all that stuff has really, hindered, and we need to better understand, what the foreign policy is going to be. We don't agree with everything that Trump says and does, and we've been the first here to, point out that information in regards to the trade. But he hasn't been allowed to develop those types of relationships, because every time it turns around, there's some type of collusion. There's some type of other obstacle that's came forward, and B, people have to understand that it involves his own party as well. They're working just as much against him 75% of the time. And how's one person supposed to get anything accomplished? How are we supposed to, move things forward? How are you supposed to move an agenda forward when there's that much corruption that you're surrounded by? 2 years have played enough. If things don't move quickly, either leading up to the midterms or shortly after the midterms, then we probably will have to, believe that come, the 2020, in the event that we see gas prices going up past $100 a barrel, we see inflation
which is what they want,
continue to escalate up. It could be a lot different situation come 2020. So, that's why the midterms, that's why post midterms it's just so important to put that in place. It can't wait till mid-year 2019. It needs to take place, between now and the end of the year.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think whatever big deal needs to happen now. Whatever big deal needs to happen now. Because I'll tell you right now, the entire situation here, okay? The entire situation here is just gone from bad to worse. And it's getting worse. And see, it's something that just simply... think about this, man. We have a well-organized, well-funded, active and hostile fifth column in the United States that are absolutely vitriolic. They're virulent. Their ideology is dangerous. It is complete anathema to the constitutional republic that we have in place. My question today, sir, the $23 trillion question is, why is not these groups being called for what they are? A terrorist organization, a treacherous, treasonous, seditious organization, a fifth column that needs to be defunded, dismantled, and taken apart. Let me ask you this. You can find where I put every single penny in any bank account here in the United States. We know, in other words, those that are in government know where every single penny of funding is going to these organizations. They know what organizations it's going to. They know to whom it's going to. They know they have access to all the communications, all the emails. In other words, they have enough evidence here to have them dead to rights. Folks, we are having, and I wrote an article about this like years ago, that we are in the middle of an American Maidan. Okay, just like what happened in the Ukraine, we are in the middle of an American Maidan. There is a coup at work. I know the administration understands that, and I know through various proxies that they have come out and says, yes, there's a coup against the president. It is a coup. It is a coup. It's a coup. So let's be honest here and let's be in agreement here. Yes, it is a coup. So what is being done here? You see, the covert, it's all fine and dandy, but what's happening overtly? Because overtly, what's happening is the quote-unquote resistance is becoming more and more motivated.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to stop. And nothing's being done, Sage. It's crazy. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's a great point. Admit that there's a silent coup. It's happening. And it's real. It's not fictitious. It's real. So let's bring this information out and let's squash that so that way we can move forward. I mean, because there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of questions out there in regards to potentially what's happening, with the economy, what's specifically going to happen with our approach that we're taking to the Middle East. I mean, there's just so much out there right now, B, and all we keep looking for is a win, right? We just keep looking for a win. Something that's going to happen, and I'm really tired of like the blogosphere. There's only so many videos we can do. We can just keep recycling the facts, the information that we already know. I mean, it's really time for legitimate action. I hope that our listeners agree and they understand that, and they help apply social pressures. If you're participating in the Q groups, great. That's completely your freedom, your liberty to do that. But push that narrative first. Foremost, it's time for action. It's way past time of any other type of 3D or 4D type analysis. I mean, we have a legitimate chance here to make a difference, to make an impact. And again, I don't want to fall back to that. Things would be a lot different with Hillary, but we have a country that's at risk. We have a potential that if this doesn't work out, to move forward into more of a even more radical, United States. And we see these stories, day after day again regarding their agenda, and it's a socialist society based upon the fact that they want to think that there's no females, there's no males, and completely to change and modify our existing life in the United States. That's their agenda. That's their goal.
It is a technocrat's wet dream. That's what their whole entire thing. You're talking about the most tyrannical, most absolutely heinous individuals who are technocrats, and they don't care. They in order to have their purpose, they believe who are these technocrats? Technocrats are basically people who are communists. And they believe, well, communism hasn't worked before in the past because we didn't have the technocratic ideals. We didn't have the technocratic modalities, mechanisms, and technologies in place. Now that we do, we can balance everything. It is the ultimate nightmare control freak scenario. That's what they want. And it befuddles me that if, I'll be honest with you, man, if I was a president and I had overwhelming evidence, hey, is there a coup against this? And I know for a fact that whatever investigation is being run against me, that it's a bunch of bogus BS, that it's also part of the coup, I would systematically go out there and I would start hammering these idiots. Hammering them. I would make sure that it would be I would be the absolute worst nightmare, that they would pee themselves every night they go to bed, because they don't know if a federal SWAT team is going to come right through the door and SWAT me. Why? Because I'm a terrorist. Why? Because I'm in charge of a fifth column. That is a danger, a clear and present danger, not to just the executive office of this country, but the entire constitutional republic, where they are threatening not just the presidents, but also Supreme Court justices, congressmen, senators, staffers. Like, what are they waiting for? And how many attempts, CJ? How many nut jobs have attempted assassination attempts on leaders? How many?
Oh, there's been several. Yeah, there's been
several.
Yeah, several.
Several foiled attempts. You can lay every single one of those foiled assassination attempts at the foot of the mainstream media, the CNNs, the MSLSDs of this world, the George Soros organization, Silicon Valley and their idiotic ilk. You could lay all of it at the foot of this fifth column. Like you think, like I just read a story about this guy named Rosentein, how he's bragging about he gets paid from higher ups. Don't you think that little bitch Rosentein, if you put him in an interrogation room and you put the squeeze on him that he would sing like a bird, he'll confess to everything. Don't you think he'd give up who's paying him? You see, these people go about doing things because they feel they're untouchable. They need to get touched.
Mm.
Think about it. We that are libertarian, conservative, we have more of a fear of pissing off the government than these idiots do. We have more of a fear of authority than these idiots do. These guys have no fear. They have nothing to do. Folks, do you get it? They have nothing to lose in their eyes. If we were half as committed as these idiots, they wouldn't go this far. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, be very well said. Yeah, think about it this way as well. I mean, think we've had control of the House, a perceived control of the House, the Senate, the military, the executive branch. It doesn't get much better than this. So if there is a shadow government that's operating, that still exists to this point today, and we're 2 years still acknowledging and trying to assess that, squash it now. Don't wait. If that shadow government is still operating, squash it now. Let's not wait, because 2 years where we've had the major part of the influence here. We've had control. Again, I'm not going to repeat it all again. it doesn't get much better than that for an administration to have that. So if there are countermeasures there is the shadow government. Let's get it exposed. Let's move forward for the prosecution. And if that has to be done utilizing the military to do it, and it brings about social unrest, it's potentially going to happen regardless. And it's dire time. And I hate to play this off and sound like I'm fear mongering, not, but times are dire here. It's the clock is ticking.
Right, agreed. And meanwhile, dude, I mean, exceptional stand is added again. Okay, exceptional stand is added again. The deep state is active. If you think the deep state's dead, you got another thing come to you. Iran vows crushing and devastating revenge on U.S. and Israel for deadly attack, folks. If you don't realize, as the Iranians held funerals following Saturday's terror attack on a military parade in the southwestern city of Avaz, the acting commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard said the Islamic Republic would, quote, take revenge against the United States and some of its biggest regional allies. 25 people were killed and at least 60 more wounded in Iran's largest terrorism incident in nearly a decade. Nearly half of the dead are members of the Revolutionary Guard. Speaking at the funeral ceremony, acting commander Hussein Salami, that's an interesting name, Hussein Salami. Wow. His cousin is Mohammed Mortadel. Anyway, Hussein Salami vowed to strike back against the triangle of Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States. Aptly naming them the triangle. Very well done. You are responsible for these actions. You will face the repercussions, warned Salami. I can't take seriously threats from a guy named Salami. I don't know. See, how about you?
It's kind of hard. Yeah. It's
kind of difficult, man. Kind of difficult. We warn all of those behind the story. We will take revenge. Iranian Supreme Leader the Ayatollah al-Khamenei warned on Monday that the 5 attackers were paid by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, despite the Islamic State claiming responsibility for the violence, and that Iran would severely punish those behind the bloodshed, and by which he meant the United States and Israel. Notice this: the Islamic State, aka ISIS, aka USIS, says they claim responsibility for the attack, but the Iran is like, no, it's the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Israel. So you see, folks, everybody in the rest of the world understand who the hell created ISIS, who's paying ISIS, who's supporting ISIS. And see, we are approximately 700 some odd days into this new administration, and ISIS is still running amok. The deep state is doing its thing, creating what it does best: regional instability and chaos. We are you want to talk about what our biggest export is? It's that.
Yep.
It's chaos. Okay. Now, I'm hot on the heels. Of that, it's come out that the UN Observatory, okay, the Syrian Observatory said that the U.S.-led coalition has killed 3,300 civilians in 4 years. So on Sunday, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights issued a statement reckoning the results of the U.S.-led coalition, attacking targets across Syria since 2014, and 4 years later, they have killed around 3,300 civilians, but directly. This is far in excess of the Pentagon official figures on the number of civilians killed. There's no official figure on the U.S.-led coalition just in Syria. But the combination of civilians killed both in Syria and Iraq are only 1,061 according to the Pentagon's count. The vast majority of the others killed were simply never officially documented, as the Pentagon found many of the largest death tolls, quote-unquote, not credible. The observatory's reckoning suggests civilians are among the 12,000, quote-unquote, rebels killed overall by the coalition. I wouldn't doubt it. Hot on the heels of that again. Okay, hot on the heels of that again. Exceptional stand is expanding, CJ. Right? It's expanding. Macedonia and the U.S. NATO Cold War. General James Mattis, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, visited Macedonia on September the 17th and declared that we do not want to see Russia doing in Macedonia what they have tried to do in so many other countries. What have they tried to do in so many other countries, CJ?
Regime change.
Wait, that's Russia? I thought that was us.
Oh, that's not Russia? Oh, that's us.
No doubt they have transferred money and they are conducting broader influencing campaigns. What's Russia doing except selling energy? Right? His observations were made in the run-up to the referendum to be held on September the 30th, in which the Macedonians will vote on a deal reached in June with Greece that would change the country's name to the Republic of Northern Macedonia. The referendum question is, do you support EU and NATO membership by accepting the agreement between Macedonia and Greece? And the outcome will be interesting, but Mattis failed to see the supreme irony in the fact that his visit to Macedonia was specifically to conduct a, quote, broader influence campaign by standing next to its prime minister, Zoran Zaev, as he announced that there is no alternative for the Republic of Macedonia than integration into NATO and the EU. Look at these lackeys, man. Although Macedonia, population only 2 million, is not a member of NATO, it has 244 soldiers in Afghanistan as part of its futile U.S.-NATO coalition mission, and Washington wants the military bonds to be closer. It isn't exactly a great military power with an army of about 8,000. And its close border with Russia, along which there is an increasingly confrontational U.S.-NATO military presence, but the Pentagon and its sub-office in Brussels always welcomes more members to their alliance. And who better than General Mattis to exercise a quote-unquote broader influence on Macedonia and to encourage it to join the team confronting Russia? While in Macedonia, Mattis declared the vote to be the most important in Macedonia's history and assured that everyone with a pro-NATO result would result in quote-unquote economic prosperity and increased foreign investment. It would unlock the NATO ascension process and allow you. This is the funniest thing in the world. You ready for this? It will allow you to determine your own future in institutions made up of like-minded countries. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. The dumbest thing. I cannot even.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. For our listeners, Trump is getting ready to take center stage at the UN to deliver. I think this is his second UN formal speech. So it'll be interesting. You know, yesterday we had Bolton, Haley, and Pompeo, declare an emergency press conference and went through that little spell. But keep an eye on this. It'll be interesting to see what specifically says, whether he calls out Iran, calls for regime change there. And then I think Lennon Paul at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be back with us to help assess and break this down, V.
Yep, a lot of things going on, folks. I mean, this is the whole entire thing. The exceptional stand marches on. I mean, our Chinese foreign policy just, at this point is, it's everything's just kind of retarded right now. Everything's kind of ridiculous and in flux. We have an election. We have an election in a matter of weeks, and we're all just sitting around here, brother. We're all just sitting around here and waiting to see what happens. But we need to get active. We need to go for the jugular. And I think we need to do it fast.
It's time. Absolutely.
That's it. All right, folks. We got a London poll coming out at 2 o'clock. So keep it locked over here. Subscribe. Like, comment, and share. And if you subscribe and then all of a sudden you come back to this channel a few days later and you see that your subscription is not there anymore, that it's been removed, don't be surprised. We've had at this point, CJ, thousands who have reported similar problems. Just resubscribe again. It's just it is what it is. We are fighting the algos. And with that being said, we're over and out. Take it away, CJ.